we have our book of the year, which is the Living the Science of Mind book. So if you haven't gotten it, I recommend that you get it. And we have it, we're studying a chapter a week in the Living the Science of Mind book. And the chapters are like 3 or 4 pages. They're not like really intense chapters. But this week, there's a quote that says, "The God within you creates every circumstance and situation you've ever experienced. You have called these circumstances and situations things in themselves, but they have never been. They have always been the fruition of your thought, and your thought has been dominated by your belief in God ever since you have had a self-conscious life. Your beliefs form whatever's going on in your life right now. And it also informs how you behave within the circumstances that are going on in your life." There's a story I heard about an 8-year-old girl. Her name was Tess. And Tess was listening to her parents. Her mom and dad were really upset because her brother Andrew was really sick. And they knew that there was a procedure that could help him, but unfortunately, they were in financial need. They were in really bad financial shape. They had spent all their money on his current medical care. They couldn't afford the procedure. They were actually moving out of their house into an apartment because they couldn't afford their mortgage. And so Tess heard her parents kind of arguing and upset and really sad about Andrew. And the mom says, it's going to take a miracle. Like, I just don't know what to do. And so Tess had this idea, and she goes to her closet, and she goes in her closet, and she pulls out her change jar. She pours the change jar out. She counts up all the change. She had $1.11. She takes her little money, puts it in the change jar, and she goes off to the pharmacy, because she knows that the pharmacy is where they offer things that help people, right? So she goes to the pharmacy, and she's at the pharmacy, and the pharmacist is talking to another man at the counter, but they're just chatting away, and she's like an 8-year-old girl, right? waiting, and finally she gets really irritated, and so she like slams her thing on the counter, and the pharmacist says, "What's up? What's going on with you, little girl? What's going on?" And she's like, "I need to speak." And the pharmacist said, "Look, I'm talking with my brother here, and he's from Chicago. I haven't seen him in ages. I miss him. And so I'm sorry, but I really need to have this conversation." And she gets really kind of like huffy, and she says, "Well, I want to talk about my little brother too." And he says, "Well, how can I help your little brother?" And she says, "I have all of this money for a miracle." And the pharmacist says, "We don't sell miracles here. I'm so sorry." And she says, "But my brother needs a miracle, and I have all this money, and I can make it happen if you can only sell me a miracle, please." And so then, this pharmacist's heart kind of melts, and he says, "Well, what's wrong with your brother?" And she says, "Well, he's really sick, and I don't know what's wrong with him, but he has something growing in his head, and it's really big, and it costs a lot of money for the surgery, and we don't have the money, but I thought I could buy a miracle." And the pharmacist was really upset, and he was like, "I'm sorry." But the brother, he steps in, and he says, "Tell me more about this." And she says, he's got this thing growing in his head, and he needs surgery, and it's really expensive, and I want to buy a miracle." And so the pharmacist's brother, takes her aside, and he looks at her right in the eye, and he says, "I actually sell miracles. I sell miracles. I will take your money, because this is just what it costs for a miracle. It's $1.11. You have exactly what it costs." And she's like, "Oh." So she gives him the jar, and he actually goes home. It turns out he was a leading surgeon in the state, and he went home to his parents, and he offered to give the surgery for free to the brother Andrew, and his name. Let's see, for Dr. Carlton Armstrong, a surgeon in Chicago who specialized in neurosurgery. And so he offered to give the surgery for free, and he saved that little boy Andrew's life. And later, the little girl hears her parents talking, "Oh, I wonder how much that would have cost," because it was really expensive. And the girl knew cost $1.11. That's the price of a miracle. But we don't have to be limited by our experience. And that's the thing. That's the beauty of kids, is they don't know that things are not possible. They're not willing to step into that realm of thinking that just because we think it's impossible, it's actually impossible. We're